opportunity. I won't say limited because we all fortunately get to see Jeffrey speak a lot and get to learn from him. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too. Please help me welcome Jeffrey Purtee.
I invite you to think back to your best vacation ever. Was it the vacation someone proposed to you? Was it the vacation where some strange Mexican gynecologist asked you to go for a drive to the beach? I'm not going to ask you to close your eyes. I always hate it when a speaker asks me to close my eyes. Whenever they do, I think, if I close my eyes, someone's going to knock me over the head and steal my wallet. But think about your best vacation. If that was a cruise, raise your hand. Oh my gosh! You have not yet had your best vacation. It is still in the future if you have not yet gone on a cruise. In 2005, after decades of badgering, I finally allowed my wife to convince me to go on my first cruise. Now, there was a good reason. I've suffered from motion sickness all my life, and I always was deathly afraid that I get on a ship, I can't go anywhere, and I'm going to be sick the whole time. But she convinced me of a product called Bonine, B-O-N-I-N-E. Apparently it's an extract of garlic. It's like Dramamine, but it doesn't make you drowsy. Take one pill in the morning, every single morning, from the day the cruise departs. And you know what? That product is magic. So if you ever thought you couldn't go, you can, because motion sickness is not a problem. 2005, our first cruise was a 5-day trip to Alaska. We got to see the glaciers. We got to see most of the coastal cities of Alaska. It was beautiful, and I was hooked. One of the things they don't tell you is all the entertainment options on cruises. Here's an interesting fact that you can only learn when you're there. We've all seen the glaciers, and we see how large they are. But if you haven't been there, can you imagine how noisy they are? These giant sheets of ice are constantly shifting and in motion, so they are cracking. It sounds like artillery fire when you're right up next to it, as our ship was. That was just unbelievable to discover, and I could only have discovered that from the deck of a cruise ship. There's no way am I going to go hiking on a glacier. I'm too old, and I don't want to fall in a crevice and, well, all those other horror stories. So reason number one to go to a cruise, you can go places that you can't get to any other way, right from the deck of a ship. And related to that, reason 1A is 50%, if not 95% of everything you want to see in the world is within 50 miles of a navigable waterway. I didn't realize that before I went cruising, but if you look at the map, historically, we as humans oriented our civilizations around waterways, either large navigable rivers like the Mississippi or the Nile, or around ocean ports. That's where we built our cities. So virtually every city you want to see, again with a few exceptions, are available from a cruise ship. I have seen a large part of the world, vast majority of it from a deck of a cruise ship. On the Baltic City tour, we saw the entire Norwegian, Denmark, Sweden, St. Petersburg, Russia, the whole thing, all from the deck of a cruise ship. Reason number two, and I would only know this because I had taken a 15-day bus trip of Europe, exploring Europe in 2007, I think. First of all, have you ever been on a long bus trip, one of these types? No? Do you people, now, does anybody here take vacations? Anybody? No? Anybody? Okay. Here's my ancillary tip. Never go on a bus trip anywhere. It was okay, really, because we saw some wonderful things. But here's the interesting thing about bus trips as compared to a cruise. Think about it this way. When do buses have to drive, for the most part? During the day, right? You're not going to be driving in a bus, riding in a bus all night because you're going to be at the hotel. So the very part of the day when you would like to spend all day in Venice, exploring Venice, or all day in Paris, or all day in London, you're on a bus. Instead, you spend 2 days in Venice, 4 hours in Paris, 1 day max in London, or something similar. You don't think about that. Now, when does a cruise ship travel? Always, almost, overnight. What happens is, you sleep at night while the ship is taking you to your next beautiful destination. You wake up, if you wake up like me, late, and you're already at the port. Or if you wake early, you get to see yourself pulling into port. You get to spend all day in the destination of your choice. All day. And then the time when you would ordinarily be sleeping and couldn't care less where you are anyway, that's when the ship is relocating you to your next fabulous destination. So reason number 2 is if you like to sleep, the ship moves when you're sleeping and you get to spend all day at your destination. Reason number 3, even if you don't want to go anywhere and you don't want to see anything in the world, a cruise ship itself is a marvelous, marvelous destination. Elizabeth and I have our cruise already scheduled for this fall. It's going to be on the Allure of the Seas. It's a Caribbean cruise. I've been to the Caribbean several times. So although we're going to do some shore excursions, one of the main reasons for this cruise, it's on the Allure of the Seas, the biggest ship currently afloat. Now, I always get this question, Jeffrey, bigger than an aircraft carrier? Bigger than a battleship? Bigger than an oil tanker? Yes, it is bigger than anything. There has never been anything this big on the seas. It is so gigantic that by the time I've made my first circuit around, I'm pretty much in heart failure. This thing is huge. You can almost not believe something this big can float. I'll tell you a little story. About 3 years ago, I was departing from Fort Lauderdale on another cruise, not on this ship. And as we were boarding, the sister ship of the Allure, the Oasis, was leaving. And I saw it. And it looked like, from where I was sitting on the deck, it looked like a city had decided to weigh anchor and move out to sea. That is how gigantic these things are. It's unbelievably amazing. What does that mean? For you, that means every single night there are 3 entertainment options. Whether you want to go to a Broadway show, whether you want to see a comic, whether you want to see singers, whether you want to see piano players. Multiple options all the time. All day long there are activities. If you want to play shuffleboard, which I know it sounds stupid, it's like get a stupid hat, pretend you're 70 years old and play shuffleboard, but it's a cruise thing, and it's one of the things I always try to do every cruise, just because it's so stupid, and because I think if you go on a cruise, you should play shuffleboard. So I play shuffleboard, badly by the way. There are athletic activities. In fact, Elizabeth and I treat every cruise as almost, well not Elizabeth, but I treat it almost as a visit to a fat farm, because they have spectacular workout facilities. So I make sure to work out at least an hour, sometimes an hour and a half every day in their spectacular facilities, and then I end up stuffing my face at the endless food that you can have there and put on the usual 6, 7, 8 pounds that everybody does, even though I've been working out like crazy. By the way, they've done statistics on this. You know what the average weight gain for a passenger in a 7-day cruise is? Anybody want to guess? 7-day cruise, statistics say 10 pounds is correct. 10 pounds in 7 days, because the food is available 24 hours a day. Only on a cruise ship do you hear this from your lovely wife. Jeffrey, let's go visit the Midnight Chocolate Madness Buffet. Where else are you going to do that? So, for the reasons outlined, and because you have not yet experienced your best vacation, I encourage you to make your next vacation a cruise.
Thank you.